Good evening, brothers and sisters. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Wherever you're joining us today on Trinity TV in the Caribbean, or wherever in the world you are today on Trinity TV Facebook Live, we welcome you. We welcome you today to Church in Action, sharing hope and healing in COVID times. This series has been designed by the ecclesial communities and the Archdiocesan Commissions of the Roman Catholic Church here in the Archdiocese of Port of Spain, where we're trying to help our brothers and sisters to deal with some of the mental health issues that have been coming up because of this pandemic. And there are so many that we've been touching on. And tonight, we're touching on the topic of anxiety. I'm sure you and I can identify many moments when we feel anxious, when we feel those panic attacks coming on, when we feel those shortness of breath. And so we want to explore that with you today and to help you to understand what you can do to help cope in the midst of anxiety. So please, if you know anyone who is struggling with anxiety at this time, invite them to tune in, invite them to log on to Facebook, invite them to turn on their television so that they can make the journey with us this evening. I want to introduce our panel today. We have some exciting guests coming out from the community, people of praise. They helped to organize the show today. And so we want to welcome the guests today. We want to welcome first to the set Justina. So Justina, welcome to you. And I just want to invite you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, viewers at home. Good evening. Justina Kemakolam.
Justina.
And yes, are you hearing me?
All right, we're not hearing Justina there. All right, so.
Hello? Hello? Are you hearing me now?
Justina?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm not sure what is happening, but my
I
mic
don't
is
know.
on and
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know
speaking.
either. I'm
Are you hearing
backstage.
me?
I was hearing you fine. I don't know what's happening. So let's hold on a bit. I'm not on yet. I'm backstage.
Okay.
I think they're having some technical difficulty.
Okay. Hi, good evening, viewers at home. I'm Justina Kem Akolam. I am a counseling psychologist and a member of People of Praise community. Originally, I'm from Nigeria, but I am a national of Trinidad and Tobago and a mother of 4.
Jay, I don't know what's happening. I'm not hearing anybody else.
But did you all hear what I said?
I
Yes.
heard you.
Yes, I heard you.
Oh, Tandy, you're there as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're backstage, so let's hold on because we don't know if we're being heard live. I'm not sure what happened.
He said the mic dropped.
Okay.
That the mic dropped off. But he said, go ahead and introduce yourself, which I did.
I'll wait then. We exalt you. Praise your name. Praise Lord. Sorry, you're worthy of praise. Worthy. None like you, Lord. Praise. 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 Ladies, just let's pray in tongues quietly. We Lord, none like you in the heavens and the earth or in the underworld, Lord. We God. We plead your precious blood with us. Praise. Amen. Right, Justina, we seem to be on. Good evening, everybody. We seem to be having some technical difficulties, so it's not clear whether we are on live or not. From observing my Facebook feed, it seems like we are on. In the interim, Justina and Tandy, maybe we can introduce ourselves, and if we need to start again. Okay, I see Father. Great. Hi, Father Michael, are we on? Okay, his mic is muted. All right. I'm seeing one person saying we're on. Father Michael, can you hear us?
His mic is giving trouble.
Okay, all right. So we will go ahead in the interim and until they can take back control, because I'm getting feedback on Facebook that we are on. All right. So I'm Alicia Hoyt. We're from People of Praise community, and we're here tonight to present on dealing with anxiety. Justina and Tandy, you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, and we'll just keep running until Father and Matthew come back.
Okay. So viewers, good evening once again. I am Justina Kem Akolam. I am a counseling psychologist, and originally I'm from Nigeria, but a national of Trinidad and Tobago. I am a member of People of Praise Counseling Ministry, and I am a mother of 4.
Tandy, you want?
Sure. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm a member of People of Praise community. My professional training is as a social worker. I have a bachelor's degree in social work, and I'm a member of People of Praise Counseling Ministry as well. Nice to be here to talk about anxiety.
So we're here to talk about anxiety, and we're in the most anxiety-provoking position because our host seems to have fallen off the air, but we're getting feedback that we are on Facebook, and like I said, that's what I'm seeing. So we're going to kind of fill the gap in the meantime until our programmers and our moderators are back online. Again, my name is Alicia Hoyt. I'm a clinical psychologist as well, master's level. I am a mother of 5, so I beat Justina. I've been a member of People of Praise community for 30 plus years. And we all form part of the counseling ministry of People of Praise community. So we're happy to be with you here today. Yeah. And we seem to have viewers online. I think I'm seeing about almost 50 people online already, if I'm seeing it correctly. So we're going to start off with what we wanted to share a little bit about today. Justina, you want to share a little bit about our topic on anxiety, coping with anxiety?
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, like my colleague said, we are in a provoking, anxiety-provoking situation, and that in itself is to allude to what we have to say this evening. But before I went into any discussion, I want to make a disclaimer that the views and opinions that is being shared in this discussion is not in any way a representation of any professional, medical, or diagnostic, and even treatment for any persons. Meaning to say that anyone who is experiencing anxiety and needs medical attention should please contact your doctors for diagnosis, interventions, and the rest of it. Purely what we are sharing here is for awareness and information as to how to ameliorate and control anxiety. Having said that, I also want to say that I am happy to be part of this ecclesiastical committee discussion on anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling. Anxiety is also an emotion that is characterized by feelings. Feelings of tension, feelings of fears, feelings of worries, feelings of thoughts. And all these feelings manifest itself in emotional, mentally, physically, and even psychology. Anxiety is not a new topic per se, and because of the nature of the topic, we might come across some things that some other individuals must have shared concerning anxiety, and it's not in any way to copyright anybody. So if in any instance anybody feels copyrighted, please remember that it was not done in any way to infringe anybody's right, but just like I said, the nature of the topic is something that could cut across what someone has said before and what people may have also cited in different instances. So as I was saying before, anxiety is not a new topic in discussion. Anxiety is part of human nature.
Yes.
And in fact, it's a very common topic or a very common cause of other mental health illnesses. Anxiety, a lot of times the causes of it is something that you cannot always recognize, but at the same way, it is something that can be triggered. So we live in an age of anxiety, and even in the timing with COVID-19, anxiety has become a household or a household name.
Yes, it has,
All over the world, irrespective of culture, irrespective of gender, irrespective of age, irrespective of religion, one way or the other, we have anxiety manifesting in every household, in every country, in every
It impacts it, yeah.
any way you look at it, right? So hence why I say we live in an age of anxiety. And making reference to COVID-19, with the pandemic, a lot of anxiety has set in everywhere in every aspect of our life.
Yeah.
Uncertainty being one of it.
Hi, everybody. Am I back? You all hearing me now?
Yes,
Yay!
Father,
Yes, yes, yes.
welcome back.
We had some technical difficulties there, but thank you for holding down the fort. Thank you for holding it down. So I am back, and I do. Fortunately, I was able to hear everything that you were saying. So yes, we are on board for this topic of anxiety, and we
Praise
want to
God.
underline what Justina said about what we're sharing today. It's not going to infringe on anyone, but we really just want to help people through this great time. And so Justina also prepared a video for us today where she started to teach and to explore this topic. So just to keep on track with the show, if we can cut away to that video now. And so we apologize again for the technical difficulties. We hope everything is fine now, and we should be okay to proceed. All right. So Mr. Producer, if we could get that video, that would be good.
Hi, I'm Justina Kemakolam, counseling psychologist and a member of People of Praise Counseling Ministry, ARIMA. It is my pleasure to be part of this discussion on how to tackle mental health issues caused by COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19, as we all know, has impacted on almost everybody, whether it's the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we do things. And this is as a result of different issues, different challenges that has come with COVID-19, be it loss of job, be it connectivity, remote learning, and the rest of it. So this afternoon, talking about mental health with reference to anxiety, I'm here to be part of this discussion. Before we move on, let us look at what is anxiety. Anxiety, in a very simple word, is intense feeling of tension, scared, anxious, and many of it. Anxiety can be mild, anxiety can also be severe. Anxiety is one of the leading mental health illness all over the world, irrespective of age, irrespective of status, irrespective of ethnicity, gender, and so on. Anxiety can be triggered by changes in normal lifestyle, be it change with work situations, be it with family life, be it with children, be it being busy, and so many other things. Anxiety can be triggered also by being pessimistic, optimistic, and having high expectations. Anxiety can manifest itself physically, mentally, emotionally, as well as behaviorally. Physically, you can notice anxiety by having constant headache, breathing being difficult, and many other physical challenges that will be noticed. Mentally, you can notice anxiety by having difficulties in concentrating, focusing, as well as having negative thoughts about situations, about yourself, about anything at all. On the other hand, anxiety can also manifest emotionally. And when I say emotionally, it means how you feel about things. One can get easily irritated, one can get easily frustrated, one can also feel numb, as the case might be. On the other hand, anxiety can also manifest behaviorally, whereby you see an individual who is having anxiety with some behaviors that can be noticeable, like biting of nails, like having difficulties sleeping, eating too much, or even eating less. It can also happen by someone having self-injury or self-harm, and this is a way to deal with these intense feelings. Having said all this, anxiety is something that can be managed. When it's mild, it can be managed. When it's severe, it can as well be managed. So we as human beings can get worried. There's no two ways about it. That is our nature as human, but it can be managed. And the management can come by us doing different things. For example, getting help. That is key to mental health issues that has to do with anxiety. Where can we get help? We can get help by talking to trusted adults, by also making contact with psychologists. We can also reach out to Families in Action. We can also reach out to even neighbors in our communities. Apart from talking and reaching out, we can also control anxiety by being resilient. And when I say resilient, it's ability to cope in any situation. Yes, as human, things will happen, situations will come, but we can as well bounce back. What are some of the things that we can do to bounce back? First and foremost, we can bounce back by staying connected. And when I say connected, you get connected with your God. No matter what you believe or believe in, you can get connected by asking that higher power that is above you for help. And you can also get connected with yourself, being in tune with yourself, knowing what is happening to you and being able to know that this is what I'm feeling and this is what is going on with me, and then being able to reach out. You can also stay connected with family members. It could be family members in the church, family members biologically, family members in your community, family members in your workplace, friends, relatives all over the world, name it. We can also be resilient in the form of having control of the situation. You know there's a situation, for instance, COVID-19 is a situation you and I don't have control of. When you are aware of situations that you are control of, and we stop craving for things we don't have control of, that in itself is a way that we can deal with anxiety. We can also be competent in whatever we do. This, as a matter of fact, is one skill that we have lacked as human beings. So we have to be at the best of what we are doing. Apart from that, we can also make contributions. And when I talk about contributions, taking care of the weaker ones among us through volunteerism, helping out those in difficulties. It could also be helping out by taking care of animals, pets, anything at all that is a contribution. And by doing so, we can get rid of control of our anxieties. We can also be resilient by us, taking good care of ourselves. Self-care is not selfish. So knowing that this is how I'm feeling, knowing that this is what I like, knowing that I need to have time to unwind and take care of myself is a key. And apart from that, we can also do some breathing exercises, some relaxation exercises, some meditation. These are things that can help to regulate our emotions and help us to take care of our anxiousness. And I believe by so doing that we all can manage and tackle this issue of anxiety, especially during this time of COVID-19. I hope I was able to help you out there. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for listening. Bye.
Okay, it seems we lost Father again.
I follow you there.
Yeah, we lost Father again.
Okay, all right. So we will continue as before.
Yes.
Thank God for People of Praise online prayer meeting. I think we're a little used to the scene. So I think one of the things that I was wondering, what makes us so anxious during something like a pandemic or during this time? And it's this, what's happening tonight is almost a perfect example. We have to be constantly changing and adapting. You know, we weren't supposed to be moderating tonight, but there's little system difficulties, and you have to adjust and adapt. And I think what this pandemic has done for us is that we're constantly having to adjust and adapt. Yeah, and as Justina said, you know, to some extent, anxiety is a natural emotion. It's a response to stress or to demand or even perceived threat in the environment. And right now, we're, you know, from press conference to press conference, from prime minister's announcements to the next one, things keep changing. It's difficult to know what's sure and what's certain. Things are unclear. You know, what's going to happen in September for school? Um, what's going to happen with my child for exams? And all those uncertainties that we have to be dealing with at the same time without clear answers. Put our bodies in a state of constant readiness for action. That creates that anxiety. Justina or Tandy, would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, those are the triggers,
So,
right? So anxiety in a very plain language is our reaction, how our body reacts when a situation sets in. So if it is that your body reacts to a situation in a way of uh, uh, fight or flight, then it will trigger off an emotion. And if it is that you are that kind of person that when things happen, the next thing is to think about a way out. What do I do? That in itself will also come to play as to how you are going to deal with that situation. Yes, so there are a lot of things happening in our world, which was why I say we live in an age of anxiety. Things are happening every day. So
The
the
anxious
worst, the
time.
worst
Yeah.
thing happening is the uncertainty. Like you said, we are not certain of anything, anytime, any day. It's no longer in our hands. So
Yes.
being in that state of uncertainty as to what will happen next will always put someone at an edge, and that will always trigger off a tension that will lead to anxiety. So it's a common thing. It is a natural tendency, and it happens to everyone every day. But what makes it problematic is when it becomes severe, that it begins to a kind of impact on the way you do things or you
Yes.
say things. In that regard, it becomes a problematic behavior. Other than that, it's a normal way of life. It is a
Yeah.
normal way of life because nobody is sure of what is happening. And then, because of that uncertainty of what is happening, one will begin to emotions will rise, and when that happens, it will also trigger off other things, along that way. So
Yeah. Hi,
So
everybody again.
hi, Father
I,
again.
You all are describing me with these things that you don't know what's happening and emotions beginning to rise.
Well, listen,
I think we are getting practical experience of dealing
I
with
think we live it.
anxiety.
We live in it. We live
Yes,
in it
we
right
do.
now.
But you'll go ahead. You'll go ahead.
okay.
I want to add that an anxiety is very much attached to our human need to control things, you know.
And that's a human need.
Right, right. A human need to control things when we're really not in control of anything. And that fight or flight or freeze response that is biologically attached to when we sense that we're not in control of the situation is what really triggers that anxiety for the majority of us.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been taught as adults, you know, that you're supposed to be in charge, right? You're
Right.
supposed to manage your affairs.
And
So when
again, our inability to also accept the fact that we are not in control of certain things is also
yeah,
a big trigger to anxiety. Because in our nature, like Alicia said out there, we are taught to control things. And when we are losing or feeling that we are losing that control, we are no longer in control of things. And accepting the reality that I am no longer in control creates a tension, and then
right.
your response to it is by that anxiety.
So we have
Yeah.
to talk soon about how we cope with that, eh? I mean, because we're
Yes.
talking about this is a normal part of life. So the worrying about a situation, the fretting over it, the some of the reactions that we have are part of life. That's how we normally are. That's how we cope. And sometimes that energy gets us ready to deal with the situation. But Justina, tell us about when it becomes chronic or when it becomes overwhelming and too much. When do we start to have a problem? When does it go from being natural to being a problem? And then we'll
Yes.
start talking about how to manage.
Okay. Thank you very much. Like I say, it's a natural tendency, and it could be mild or it could also be severe. It is mild when, under normal circumstances, a situation arises and you feel apprehensive, and you begin to maybe get worried, anxious, what will happen and what will happen. And after some time, that kind of emotion will just erase out or calm down. But when by it becomes something that begins to impact on the way you do things or the way you feel. Take, for instance, physically, you begin to have a constant headache, you know, you begin to have stomach ache, you begin to get those kind of feelings that is not just coming and going, but it is a
Yeah,
serious one whereby it's constantly happening to the extent that you won't be able to sleep. You want to sleep, but you're not sleeping. You want to eat, you're not having appetite to eat. And sometimes, even when you have the appetite to eat, you eat too much, thinking that eating too much will help to take away that anxiousness and that situation that is causing that
yeah. That nervous
apprehension.
eating.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
so you're overeating or oversleeping, and even, so those kind of things, when it gets to borderline, whereby it's impacting on you as an individual, as a human being, the way you do things, the way you look at things, and the way you feel about yourself. That is a borderline, and then it is described as being problematic. And when it reaches that stage, even mentally, when you want to focus on something, concentration becomes a very difficult task, that you cannot concentrate you on anything that you are doing. That is
Yeah.
a very problematic behavior. And behaviorally, you are beginning to, bite your nails. And like we say, it can trigger to other mental health issues like,
Other condition.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
like um, obsessive compulsive behaviors, even panic
Right.
attack and all that. So when it's reached to that point, then it is no longer a child's play. It has become problematic. And when it reaches that stage, then you will need to address it. Other than that, it will, if left untreated, will now take over you, and that could become a more serious or severe mental health issue to deal with.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that important distinction of that borderline between mild and the chronic anxiety. So before we shift the gears into the discussion of what we can do to manage we want to just take a quick musical break. So we want to play a musical item here, and then we will return, where we will now go into the tips and the do's, what we can do to help manage our anxiety. All right, so we'll be back with you right after, viewers, right after this break.
Okay.
Thank
Okay. So there we have the people of praise, the lovely community that has provided these lovely ladies here this evening. And now we want to shift our conversation, and you are viewing called The Church in Action, sharing hope and healing in COVID times here on Trinity TV and on Facebook Live. And in studio today, we have Justina, Sandy, and Alicia, all from the People of Faith community, who are sharing with us at this time on what we can do to manage our anxiety. So ladies, tell us, what can we as the viewers, we as people every day, what are some of the things we can do to manage our anxiety during these times?
I think because our anxiety manifests in different aspects of our person, mentally,
Right.
physically, emotionally, and in our behavior, then the strategies for coping are going to impact those different aspects of our person as well. Tandy, you want to share some of those strategies with us?
So in terms of strategies, it starts with recognizing, I think, when your anxiety is becoming triggered and being proactive. So we suggest things like grounding exercises, building connection, breathing, a simple thing as breathing. And breathing is one of them that you would come across the most, because what happens is when we stop to breathe deeply, we allow our parasympathetic nervous system to regulate us. Other things are things like self-soothing, things for self-care and self-management. A beautiful grounding exercise that can be used by all ages and all stages is 5 things. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can smell, 3 things you can touch, 1 thing you can taste. I left out two. Two things, 2 things you can smell. It's You can make a game of it with your kids, because um, as we said before, anxiety affects us across the lifespan. When we're not too big or too small to experience some sort of anxiety.
Mhm.
Um,
So
so,
the self-soothing is really about calming our physical selves. Yeah?
correct. Um, so it's about starting somewhere, not waiting until things are so bad that you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to go to work, you don't want to
Yeah.
go to school. Start small.
Mhm.
um Ask somebody to, probably, if you, what activity you're going to do, if they can help you out, like gardening, you might be able to have somebody do that with you, going for a walk, that those kinds of activities.
Okay, okay, okay.
um
So I think it's the
laughter
go
laughter
ahead,
is one
Tanya.
of the good ways. I mean, we had some good laughs behind the scenes when we had all those hiccup just now, and
Yeah,
that helps also to lighten the mood and shift our focus, this which is distracting ourselves from what has us so focused on being anxious.
right.
um,
Okay.
So, in addition to that,
Yeah,
what we're looking, because anxiety is a state of what we call arousal for our bodies. Our hearts are racing, our stomachs are upset, we're breathing short. Your main thing is that we do have some control in calming our systems back down. So what Andy is
right.
referring to with the grounding exercise, by focusing on the physical reality around you, it kind of brings you back to yourself. And
Okay,
by our breathing exercises, which we hear a lot about now, we're actually able to lower our heart rate and our blood pressure and give our brains and our bodies a message that things are okay. So that's
right,
going to be
right,
a significant part of it. Our activities really ought to be healthy activities.
right,
So, I had what I call in the back of the house COVID gardens. When this whole thing started, I started gardening. Anything
right,
that is soothing and life giving that you enjoy doing
right.
helps to relieve that anxiety and that stress as well. So, those are
But
some other areas.
what would you all say to the people though who their main source of soothing comes from being with other people, and so in the midst of the restrictions right now where that is limited, like what can people like that do where their soothing really depends on others?
I want to say something on that. It's funny that you mentioned that because we had a behind the scenes debate about whether we discussed the value of hugging and that
Right,
physical contact. And we decided we weren't sure, because the big thing now is social distance to
right,
avoid contamination. And that's what
right,
makes this so hard, especially for those who are living alone, especially for the elderly.
right,
Whereas that physical embrace is really, neurologically, it's really powerful. We have to be so
right.
careful. So it's
Yeah,
really going to be important to stay connected, even if it's,
right,
phone call, reaching out, sometimes focusing on the other rather than ourselves. So
right,
volunteering, reaching out, helping a neighbor, or making a phone call to check on somebody.
right,
Adversely,
right,
if you know of somebody who's living alone and doesn't have that, my household is full, so I have enough social contact right now. But for those
right,
living
right,
alone, reach out to
right.
somebody and give a call.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, okay. So you're saying
And
that go ahead.
yeah, so in addition to that, connection, like you rightly said, some people's support comes from their relationship with other people. So
Yeah,
yes, we are in COVID and there's an isolation, which in a way has also triggered one of the triggers for anxiety. So we are, yes, far apart, but we can still connect. Thank God for technology. So just the
Digitally.
same, yeah, so
Mhm.
just the same way that you could have connected with people physically, You can stay connected with people, people, your friends, your relations, church members, belonging, like all of us are here. We are not here physically, but we are still connected, making use of the technology. And that is what we have control of. So finding other means of connection becomes a key to building that relationship that we are missing because of this COVID and the health protocols, whereby people are not physically connected, so they could still be connection online and making use of technology. So,
Right.
yeah.
And to help our viewers, you all made a really helpful distinction for me between the mild and the severe anxiety. So if I notice the signs that you gave of the severe anxiety where it's affecting my life and things that I do, what are my options at that stage? What should I do at that point?
Yeah.
One thing you could do is to reach out, because you know how you're feeling, and then you reach out, letting someone know that this is how I am feeling. And sometimes you yourself, because of the condition you find yourself, may not think right as to what am I to do. But giving that call, the person, because whoever that you intend to call must be someone that you trust, must be someone that you know, if you reach out to that person, will be of help to you. So reaching out to that person, the person um, should be able or will be able to advise you, or maybe do getting a little information from you. How long has this been? You know, that kind of a thing. And the person could as well say, okay, you will need to contact your doctor, you will need to go for therapy, you will need to. So that in itself becomes a source of help or information as to how you could get help in order to treat with the situation that you find yourself.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add to that?
I wanted to add further along what Justina is saying and what Tandy said as well. It is important to be proactive by knowing your triggers. So we've often told people during this time, if you realize, listening to COVID news, following every press conference, if those are the things that are creating that stressful response for you, then cut it back. Know what triggers your anxiety, and try to limit it or manage it the best you can. It's also important, remember that serenity prayer. Anxiety is our desire to control our environment, which is a fairly healthy thing once we know what we can and cannot control. So take charge of what you can, and find ways to make peace with what you can't. Some things we have to change, some situations we can change the situation. So making that distinction. Being proactive means knowing out front what gets me riled up, what works me up, and treating with it before it gets out of hand. Because when you get to that chronic end where it's affecting how you work, it's affecting how you relate, it's affecting your functioning, that's when you reach the stage of either medical care, or therapeutic care. But you want to catch it as early as possible.
Right. Yeah, okay, we're supposed to go to a break, but I think there's an important question. If I notice someone in my family is dealing with anxiety, what can I do to help and support?
I think for our children, we have to create, starting with children and teens, because we miss them a lot. They might look like hyperactivity, or biting on things, or going quiet even. We want to create a calm environment as far as possible. We want to create as much routine or certainty as we can. So regulate what you can, even if it's regular family meals or regular family meeting, or you spend time checking in with that person on a regular basis so they can talk. You help where you can. But if we are worked up and anxious, we can't help anybody else.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. So we want to go to our last musical item for today. And then when we come back, we're going to have an integration exercise to help you viewers at home, to help you deal with the anxiety that you might be feeling. We want to equip you with one of the tools that will help you right after this break. Okay. So that was the People of Praise Steel Orchestra. And as I listen to the music, I realize that's something that helps me when I feel anxious, just listening to the right music. That
Yep.
helps to do a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So before we close today, viewers, once again, you're watching Church in Action, where we're offering hope and healing here in COVID times. And we just want to ask Stanley to lead us now in this time of integration of something that practical that we can do to deal with this anxiety.
Thank you, Father. So I'm going to ask you to sit and have your feet flat on the ground, your arms relaxed. You can rest them. You can rest your palms on your knees and just relax. Become aware of your body. Close your eyes if you wish. If it would help, you can clasp your hands and put them against your tummy to help you with your breathing. We're going to do something called the 4 square breathing technique. It is out there in the world of the internet by various names, the palm breathing, butterfly breathing. And what we're going to do is we're going to inhale for 4 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to hold it for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to repeat it 4 times ideally. So again, inhale for 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. One more time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. And again, inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. I hope that helped. Alicia looks like she's ready to take a nap.
It works. It really does.
It and as I close my time here with you, I'd like to say the church in her wisdom has given us a lot of prayers that we can use, a lot of saints that are patron saints of mental disorders and anxiety. And I would just like to leave you all with this prayer from Saint Therese of Avila. Let nothing disturb you, nothing frighten you. All things are passing. God never changes. Patience obtains all things. Nothing is wanting to him who possesses God. God alone suffices. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And I think that's an important note. Give praise. The word of God lifts us up, gives us consolation. And in our darkest hour, we can give praise. Psalm 36:11 says, "Be still and know that I am God." Amen. So in the midst of
Amen.
everything, we can lift our hands and our heart and just bless our God and praise our God and trust him to take us through.
Amen.
Thank you. And just before we close, ladies, any one last thing that you really feel you would like to leave with our viewers today before we close out?
Okay, so I will go by saying that life is not the way we want it, but it is what it is, and it's what we do to cope with it that makes the difference. And this is according to Virginia Satir. So, yeah.
I think for me, we don't take very good care of ourselves. For some reason, we take better care of other people. And so be your own best friend. What would you tell somebody you really cared about, who you realize was struggling and worrying or becoming anxious or overwhelmed? What would you tell a best friend to do, or a child or a loved one? Be your own best friend and take good care of yourself. Be as proactive as possible. That's my part.
Thank you.
For me, be proactive from the get-go. When you realize things are not as you would like them, shift your focus. Do something.
To take control,
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us today. This helped me personally. So I'm sure our viewers, you at home, you have also been helped by these three lovely ladies, Alicia, Justina, and Tandy. Thank you very much. And I'm glad we pushed through the anxiety caused by the technical difficulties, and we had a good show. We had a great show. So thank you very much. Viewers at home, God bless you, and let us really cast all of our anxieties onto the Lord, onto each other, and really be proactive, as they said. So thank you very much. This was the Church in Action, and we invite you to join us again tomorrow, where we will tackle another aspect of mental health issues. And so have a good evening, and see you tomorrow. Bye,
Same
everybody.
to you, Father.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.